Brethren, we're going to look at an article today that I have taken off of a website that I go to frequently. It's a very hard article and it's a very hard site. It's not always easy to listen to the evil that's going on today. I think it must be really hard to be a police officer or to be in the military and face the ugliness that's in this world every day. It's a very difficult thing, and yet I seem to have been drawn into that from the point of view of articles. I've been drawn into this war. I go to this website every day. It's called, I keep getting the name wrong, so I don't want to give you the wrong name. I think it's What Do You Know? I think that's what the name of it is. No, What Does It Mean? The name of the website is whatdoesitmean.com. The woman who writes it is a controversial figure. She calls herself I'm not even sure how to pronounce it, but the Sisters of Sakal that come out of Ireland. She was begging for money the other day, and I was ready to make a donation, and I thought I saw a Freemason symbol on her page. I don't know whether it was their symbol or she was indicating that's what they're fighting against. I wasn't sure, so I didn't make the donation, but I listen. Sometimes it's audio on YouTube, and other times it's always on the written word on their website. She preaches out of Ireland, and she gets a lot of news that comes through Russia. Brethren, you must know that the news media in the United States is worthless. Getting the news through the American channels is worthless. As I understand it, all of the news channels are owned by basically the same source, maybe 2 or 3 sources, a couple of families. They own all of the news channels, and they determine what the American people will be told. So this woman, she's the head of a it sounds like a Catholic order to me, so I'm suspicious of that also. I've tested it over at least the last year, and the news articles that they're writing seem to be accurate, and if at the very least fascinating, and they seem to be in the loop. So, but then there's no news source today that you can rely upon completely. You have to put it before the Lord and pray about it and listen to Christ in you and decide what you're going to believe. I believe that there is a worldwide network of pedophiles, and they're Satanists and Luciferians. They torture children, they keep children in cages. There are thousands, hundreds of thousands of children that are go missing every year. I believe this is pretty factual. The human trafficking is a tremendous business, and it seems like that the halls of power in the Western powers have been corrupted. They're all into pedophilia, and not only pedophilia, but Satanism, of sacrificing humans and torturing children and then consuming their flesh. That is like really hard to believe. And my testimony is that it's taken me a few years to accept that, and that President Trump is going after these people, that I'm told thousands of them have been put in jail since President Trump took office, but none of the big names yet, like the Queen of England and the Clintons and the Bushes, and names that the average citizen would just find it impossible to believe this true of. So it's taken me a while, it's taken me a few years to believe the truth about Israel that the Lord has shown us, to believe this evil that has gripped the halls of power across the world. And now there's another evil that I realized that I've been in denial over. My mind just wouldn't grasp it. I've been hearing, I has to be a couple of years, at least a year, if not 2 years, that I've been hearing about AI, artificial intelligence. But I have never really, I have to admit today that I have never really grasped the significance of the evil involved. My mind was rejecting the reality of it. Apparently this idea was being dealt with at the Gen 6 conference that we just went to in September. And my mind was just still rejecting the reality of AI and I know about AI, I know about artificial intelligence. My mind was rejecting the significance of what it means. And what is the significance of what it means? The significance is typified by the Star Trek concept of the Borg. Complete control of every member of humanity. Complete control of their mind and their existence. That was not getting through to my brain. I've seen the videos, at least for the last 2 years, at conferences that we went to, about the AI that's being constructed, that there have been petitions to the United Nations because certain nations are making AI soldiers that will be undefeatable by human soldiers, and that petitions have been made to the United Nations to make it illegal. I read about that. I read about the first AI being made a citizen in Saudi Arabia. I think it happened in 2018, if not 2018, 2017, that the first AI was made an actual citizen with all of the rights of a citizen of Saudi Arabia. And I guess my mind was saying, well, that's like really crazy. And I never grasped its reality for me. I think maybe I was thinking, well, my mind is in Christ and it wouldn't affect me. But what about the AI soldiers? I don't know. I have to admit now that my mind was just rejecting the whole concept of this total control of humanity as far as the chip goes and the mark goes. I always thought, well, it would never affect me because I have the mind of Christ. And it wasn't a conscious decision to reject it. In hindsight, that's what I think was going on. That I just didn't think it was affecting me, or I was just in some form of denial. Well, the Lord has catapulted me out of that denial today. I had this article. The article is a couple of days old. I thought about sharing it with you all, and then I changed my mind, and maybe it was too radical, and I don't know, I just went back and forth until this morning, after I already spoke to Susan and told her that the message was going to be something else. The Lord told me He wanted me to share this article with you. I was actually thinking it was too hard to share with you. So, we're going to read the article because I don't know how to reiterate it other than to synopsize it for you, to tell you that there was some collaboration between John Bolton, who was he used to be the United States ambassador to the United Nations. He now has a post in President Trump's cabinet. I'm not sure what it is. He's not ambassador to the UN. Nikki Haley was, and she resigned. We don't know who's taking her place. That he had a communication with I think it was directly with President Putin, because certain information had come into the hands of foreign intelligence agencies. The result of this information being given to President Putin was that he arrested somebody for high treason, that there is a Russian citizen arrested in Russia for high treason, that this man was associated, and I haven't digested it completely. We're going to read it together. But this man is a writer, and he was connected apparently with people, with American citizens involved with a ring of human traffickers coming out of South America that are trafficking young boys, young transgender boys, and trafficking them over to Spain. and I believe that they grabbed them in Spain and prosecuted them in Spain. And aside from all of that, this group, these people running this evil operation, are involved with this AI brain, a single brain. They're involved with a single brain and bringing it into existence that will be an AI God. Now, I have heard about an AI God. I've come across it in my readings, and I never gave it any credence. You know, I happened to speak to Jesse on the phone last night, because this article is like burning a hole in my brain. And I said, Jesse, do you know about this AI God? And he said, yeah, that was what they were talking about at the Gen 6 conference. And I have to tell you that it went right over my head. It did not stick. So today I have to realize that there was some kind of a mechanism that had risen up in my mind that was blocking this degree of truth. I mean, that I knew there was an AI God, but the idea that it is a massive computer that will control every human being on the face of the earth, okay, through not only mind control, but through technology, which is actually doing what God intends to do. Like I have explained to you, the Lord Jesus will be connecting with Christ in each of us and setting up a permanent union called a marriage between the Lord Jesus and Christ and the individual, which will initiate the continuous flow of Elohim, God, from the higher world through this world, like on a circulatory system. And that will be the reality of the manifestation of the sons of God. Well, this computer, apparently they haven't perfected it yet, thank God, intends to impart, so maybe it's the chip, something to every human being, and then the computer will be connected to that chip in every human being, completely control every thought and every behavior of all of the human beings on the face of the earth. And the result will be that humanity will worship this AI. That is the plan, and that is what I have blocked out of my mind up until yesterday. So these people that are involved in human trafficking, they're also involved in this AI God. What does that say to us? It says that the evil powers that rule this world, they have captured human beings. This is the third message where I'm preaching today. It's been 3 separate subjects. And I mentioned in a previous message that these dark powers that were created on the 5th day of creation, that they perceive humanity as to be only the cattle which were created on the morning of the 6th day of creation. And basically that's what we are, except that we have the Spirit of God which raises us up above the cattle of this world. Excuse me. But compared to the creations, the reptilians and the avians that were created on the 5th day of creation, they perceive what is humanity, the cattle that were created on the morning of the 6th day. They perceive us as just that, as cattle. And as I've explained to you in other messages, mankind, we're the weakest of all of the creatures. The reason we're the weakest of all of the creatures of the creation is that our destiny is to be permanently and completely unified with the Spirit of God, which will make us stronger than all of the other creatures of the creation. But until we're permanently unified with God, we're the weakest of all of the creatures. This sort of goes with the parable that Jesus said the most humble seed, the smallest and most insignificant seed, will become a great tree that will bless the entire world. See? So I've lost my train of thought. Just hold on for a second. So these people that are involved with human trafficking, of the most evil kind of human trafficking. I mean, it's bad enough that you traffic young girls for sexual activity with men, but it just gets more and more evil. I think I told you recently in a message that I preach. Not that I agree with any of this, but for the first time I can understand Lot saying to the men of Sodom, don't do this wickedness, don't seek to lay hands on these men for homosexual intercourse, take my virgin daughters. I would pray that nothing like that would have happened, but I used to think that it was irrational, that there was something wrong in the Bible, that nobody could even say such a thing. And I'm not, I hope no one misunderstands me. It's that would be a terrible thing. And what I'm telling you is, for the first time, my mind can comprehend that kind of thinking, that there's something so insidious and evil as raising up transgender young boys, as laying hold of young boys, which is what they do in Islamic nations. You know, they raise up young boys and they train them to be girls. They dress them as girls. They put high heels on them. They make them parade in front of the men. You know, I'm told it's a part of Islamic culture. Okay, that there is something so insidiously sexually, it's a sexual activity that is so insidiously evil that you can't even mention it in the same sentence as prostituting a young girl for some active normal sexual intercourse with some man who pays for it. That's how evil this transgender human trafficking is, especially for young boys that are taken against their own will and trained up that way. So these same people that are involved with this apparently are involved with this AI. How would that be? Well, it's the same powers and principalities that have captured these human beings, because, how am I going to say this coherently? For these human beings to be in this state, in this Satanist and Luciferian states, they're possessed. They're possessed by evil powers. So the evil powers that are possessing them are also giving them this intelligence about this AI God. They're people that are powerful people in this world. They have a lot of money, and they're pushing this agenda because they themselves are the slaves of these powers that are seeking to take the creation away from its legitimate owner, which is the Lord Jesus Christ. And these particular people lead right to, the trail leads right to one of the New York State senators, Senator Gillibrand. So we're going to read this article, and I'm going to hope to learn it better, to absorb it better, and to introduce it to you. It is an article describing the evil that's going on in the world, and the article says, the hope of the world. They don't understand that it's Jesus. The hope of the world is that President Trump will be able to put a stop to this. President Trump is trying to put a stop to this. That man, God picked the right man. He's unbelievable. His physical energy is unbelievable. The man is in his 70s. It doesn't seem to be meaning anything to him. He had 3 campaigns in one day, 3 rallies in one day. After several other days of rallies, he's tireless. He's running America against the greatest opposition that any American president has ever experienced. And he's internationally involved, trying to take down this evil that's in the world. The man is just amazing. And of course it's Jesus working through him, but it's still, the man is just amazing. So that's the story. The whole world lieth in wickedness. You know how many times I've read that scripture, but never for a second could even imagine the things that I'm hearing today. Excuse me, that are going on in the world. Excuse me, President. Putin, I've seen him interviewed. I believe he's a serious Christian. You know, brother, when I was new to the church, we were saying that Catholics weren't Christians. Well, I don't know that we had any right to say that, but that was what we were saying all those years ago when I first came to the church. But today, I'll give anyone a shot that names the name of Jesus. So Putin, he's Russian Orthodox, which is Catholic. I listened to him interviewed. He believes in relics and pictures of Jesus and things that I was taught. Well, that's not a true Christian believing in that stuff. Well, I believe that he believes in Jesus to the best of his ability, and I think that Jesus is right there with him, and he's going to have a part in overthrowing this evil in the world. So my whole attitude has changed about who I think a Christian is or Christian is not. I believe that President Trump and President Putin and other leaders of the world know what's going on. They know that all of humanity is in danger and that they're working together to save humanity. We will see how it all plays out. In the meantime, here is this article. It is legal for me to reproduce it. That disclaimer is written at the end of the article. As long as you cite the source of it, anybody that wants to reproduce it can. And I've included the pictures for you. This is the article as it appears. This is it. The headline, the date is November 5th, 2018. The headline is, Russian military expert arrested for treason. On QAnon sealed indictment evidence linking him to American plot to create an AI god. So, brother, this evil is coming out of America. It is based in and coming, the core of it is in America, number one. Number two, it's very interesting that it talks about QAnon sealed indictment. Now, for those of you that don't know, QAnon is a phenomenon. It's the name of, I'm told, more than one person, a group of people that have been posting to internet message boards, giving riddles, which if you can solve the riddle, you will get information, political information, coming from Trump's administration. A lot of people were listening to QAnon, and then an internet site that I have a lot of confidence in, Intelligence Media, I think that's the name of it, Intelligence Media. There's a third part to the name. Exposed QAnon as not being legitimate, and a lot of the sites stopped interpreting those riddles. I stopped listening. I don't know whether I stopped listening because Christ in me was no longer leading me there. Was it because they were not legitimate? Or was it personally I was just tired of the riddles? I don't have any time for riddles, so I was listening to a couple of the sites that was their whole channel, that they would interpret the riddles of QAnon. And I don't have any patience for that. Someone asked me recently, I think just last night, do you still listen to Rush Limbaugh? No, I don't listen to Rush Limbaugh. I don't listen to Michael Savage. Why? Because I don't have the patience for it. I personally want raw information. Don't go on and on. Don't chat with me. Don't talk about football. I want raw information. And that's what I get on this site. So I had no patience to try to solve riddles, You tell it to me as it is. I'll put it before the Lord. Either I believe it or I don't. I have no patience for riddles. So I've been a little disappointed to find out that some people stuck with QAnon, and they're saying, yes, that the name QAnon was hijacked, that there were some people posting and they weren't the real QAnon, so I didn't know what to make out of it, and since I don't like riddles, I really wasn't paying any attention to it. But now it appears that although QAnon might have been hijacked from time to time, that it really is a legitimate source of information coming out of the White House. And that Intelligence Media are the ones who really came against it. I even heard them say a couple of times, well, yeah, that's been hijacked and then it's back up. The legitimate source is back up. But they themselves, this is Douglas Gabriel and a woman that joins him, they don't give any information from QAnon, although they were now admitting, yes, some of the posts are legitimate, they don't touch it for whatever their reason. So when I said I'm disappointed, I'm not disappointed in them. I hope that they're legitimate and that they weren't just turning me away from the source of true information. Even if that's true, that source gives incredible information. So, brother, you have to be grown up. You have to be willing to listen to a lot of things and not give your whole heart to every source. You have to like stay neutral there, you know. Well, I believe this source, but, you know, if something indicates that they've gone off, I'll drop them in a second. I have no ego connection to any one source. My only ego connection is to Jesus, the Christ in the midst of me. So this article says that based on a QAnon sealed indictment, well, for those of you that don't know what that means, QAnon and other sources have been saying for over a year now that there are all of these sealed indictments coming out of the United States Justice Department, which is Jeff Sessions, which is among the missing. Okay? Almost everybody that I know believes that he's unfaithful to President Trump and that he's just not doing anything. And yet all of these sealed indictments are being racked up. How is that known? People that look at the courts, the indictments, and I don't have the exact information to give you, but they have to be available on the court docket or the court register, whatever the right word is, that there are indictments, but we don't know who's being indicted because they're sealed. So there's supposed to be thousands of them. That means whenever the Justice Department is ready to prosecute, they unseal it. They say this is the name on the indictment, and they send the police to go arrest them. And they have a grand jury hearing, or et cetera, et cetera. So this article is saying now that there's been a Russian military expert arrested for treason based upon a QAnon sealed indictment evidence linking this Russian military expert to an American plot to create an AI god. You're going to hear some Americans named. The only name that was familiar to me is the New York State Senator, Gillibrand. It's her father. And the author is saying that they think it's impossible for her to be her father and other members of her family and her not to be touched by it, but no proof yet. So, it's by Sorcha Faal, if I'm pronouncing her name correctly. She's in Ireland, and this is her report to her Western subscribers. A rather perfunctory, though absolutely astonishing, new Federal Security Service report circulating in the Kremlin today states that Russian military expert Vladimir Nailov has been arrested on high treason charges and is now imprisoned at Moscow's Lefortovo pretrial facility, and whose evidence for charge section contains the jaw-dropping statements, open quote, United States sealed indictment, reference, USNC J. Bolton. It's coming from John Bolton. And advanced Luciferian computer crimes. This is an official document from John Bolton. Luciferian computer crimes. So they're calling this AI Luciferian. Thus obliquely confirming why, and they're saying that this happened now. United States National Security Advisor John Bolton, so that's his title, he's a security advisor, requested an urgent meeting with President Putin last week. And what is possibly the true purpose of the over 61,000 sealed indictments, which I've been hearing about for over a year, that have been revealed over the past year being secretly issued in the U.S. by the mysterious American military intelligence organization called QAnon. So what this is saying, I've been hearing about these indictments, 61,000, they've been large numbers of sealed indictments, that this article is calling QAnon an American military intelligence organization. And I've been hearing that it's not one person giving out this information, that it's a group of high military intelligence. And many are saying that our government is actually a military government, that President Trump is ruling the country through a military government that is operating, that is standing apart from the coup that has taken place and all of this military government. It's ignoring the powers in the Congress, because the Congress has been, had been overtaken, and now things have changed, but the Congress had been overtaken. Well, as far as I'm concerned, they're communists, Nancy Pelosi. All of them, just listen to what's coming out of their mouth. Maxine Waters, Chuck Schumer, they're communists. At the very least, they're globalists, and their interests are not for the United States of America. They've seized our government. So the intelligence communities in the United States, including the military, raised up another contingent, for lack of a better word. They drafted President Trump, and they're running the country. It's really a military organization running the country. They've crippled the parts of the government that have been overtaken by this coup. And they haven't arrested anybody yet, because, as I said in the other two messages that I preached this morning, the majority of the American people are very ignorant, and they're trying to get the country back without a hot civil war. Right now we're in a cold civil war. They're trying to save the country without people starting to shoot at each other, without declaring martial law. There's actually a military government running the country right now, keeping President Trump alive. That's why they have not been able to assassinate him. He's protected. They say it's the FBI, but he's really protected by the military. So there's been a piece of news. There's a Russian military official has been arrested for high treason. Why is it high treason? That was my question. Why is it high treason? You know, what did John Bolton tell them about AI? Why is that high treason? United States sealed indictment reference U.S. NSC John Bolton, United States Security Advisor John Bolton. The name of the article is Advanced Luciferian Computer Crimes. The high treason is because of computer crimes. So there must be something in law in the United States such as computer crime. And the computer crime is that they're building this AI God, the intention of which is to control the entire human race. Thus obliquely confirming why the United States National Security Advisor John Bolton requested an urgent meeting with President Putin last week, and what is possibly the true purpose of the over 61,000 sealed indictments. So it's saying all of these indictments, nobody knows what they're for. You don't know who they're for or what the charge is. Maybe the charge is not even human trafficking. Maybe the charge is computer crimes. Building these robots to destroy the nation and the world. Over 61,000 sealed indictments that have been revealed over the past year, being secretly issued in the U.S. by the mysterious American military organization called QAnon. With further confirmation of this being so revealed in a Foreign Intelligence Service appendix to this FSB report, stating that upon their receiving this sealed indictment information on the treason charges against Nailov, they contacted their counterparts in the Centro Nacional de Inteligencia, Russia and Spain. Okay, what that's saying is that now Spain was advised. This is affecting Spain also. So Russia and Spain share intelligence. As soon as Russia heard this, they notified Spain of it. And the Spanish organization is Centro Nacional de Inteligencia. Russia and Spain maintain benevolent relations. So now it's America. John Bolton is warning Putin, who's warning Spain. Warning what? We're going to find out. who the CNI, the Spanish Centro Nacional de Inteligencia, the National Center of Intelligence, who were then able to smash a black magic. This is a military. This is a official document talking about black magic. The man in the street wouldn't believe it if you tried to tell him. Who were then able to smash a black magic 6 cult who were trafficking young transgender boys from South America. That was like the headline, and now the article starts with a repetition of the same thing. So the whole rest of page 2 is just a repeat of that introduction, brethren. So I'm going to forward to page 3. This picture was on the site of President Trump. There is light where there was once darkness. And this is QAnon.pub. That's their site. This picture comes off of that site, QAnon.pub. According to this report, now arrested for treason, Vladimir Nailov is a journalist who wrote about Russian private military companies for an organization named the Center for Strategic Estimates and Forecasts. So this guy that's now arrested for treason in Russia is a writer who wrote for this company, Center for Strategic Estimates and Forecasts. And one of whose American contacts, the writer has American contacts, was University of Iowa doctoral candidate Joshua Cheshentret. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right or not. Cheshentret. But then please notice the Christian names of these people. People with raised Baptist, raised Christians, they become these Luciferians. It's just really amazing. Okay, so we have this Russian writer, Vladimir Nailov. He's been arrested for high treason by Putin. Okay, and this guy has American connections to the University of Iowa doctoral candidate Joshua Cheshentret. Okay, with Cheshentret being a student of international military relations who studied extensively in China. Brethren, it's Chinese communism that is attempting to take over this country. That's what that has gone. It's pretty far gone. Okay, they've taken over the Democratic Party. So this man, Joshua Cheshentret, a student of international military relations, who studied extensively in China, and who received his undergraduate degree from SUNY. That's New York University, but not here in Stony Brook. From the SUNY Center for International Development, located in Albany, New York, where he conducted background research on global governance topics. Global governance, they want to control all the people under a global government. Most critical to know about Joshua Cheshentret, however, this report notes, is that he is the son of Erin Rudnick Cheshentret, who is the youngest sister of Democrat Party U.S. Senator Kristen Gillibrand. So this Joshua Cheshentret, who studied in China, okay, that's a female name, is the youngest sister of Senator Kirsten Gillibrand. I just want to remind you that Senator Gillibrand initially was appointed to the office of Senator, of New York State Senator, United States Senator for the state of New York, when Hillary resigned to run for president. And then after that, she was elected under her own recognizance. But the Americans just re-elected the person that Governor Cuomo put in there. I was really hoping that man would have been replaced, but he won by a big majority, Governor Cuomo. So this article, now we're talking about Senator Kristen's Gillibrand's sister, Erin Rutnick Teschenard, with both Erin's and Kristen's father, Doug Rutnick, being one of the top advisors to the mysterious Albany, New York sex cult called NXIVM. So the father of Kristen Gillibrand, the New York State Senator, is one of the top advisors. He's not saying he's a member, he's an advisor. That means he's like on the board running the whole show, to the mysterious Albany, New York sex cult called NXIVM, whose founder, Keith Raniere, has already been arrested by one of the tens of thousands of sealed indictments QAnon had documented President Trump had ordered his loyal forces to issue. That sentence doesn't make too much sense. This is a translation from something that was originally written in Russian. So, Keith Raniere, a man he's under arrest right now, and the basis for his arrest is one of the tens of thousands of sealed indictments that QAnon had told the public about. Not that QAnon caused the indictments. Jeff Sessions had to write the indictments, okay? But the knowledge of their existence was revealed to the people through these QAnon postings. That President Trump had ordered his loyal forces to issue these indictments. So we don't know that whether Jeff Sessions did it or someone on his staff did it. Jeff Sessions is amongst the missing. That's a sarcastic comment. We know where he is. He's just not functioning, or he's out of the public eye, except for some speech that he made, which has nothing to do with President Trump's agenda. What he's doing has nothing to do with President Trump's agenda, unless he's behind this. And he's playing good cop, bad cop. We're going to find out. According to this report, now arrested for treason, Vladimir Nailov is a journalist who wrote about Russian private military companies for an organization named the Center for Strategic Estimates and Forecasts, and one of whose American contacts was University of Iowa doctoral candidate Joshua Treschenchet, with Treschenchet being a student of international military relations, studied extensively in China, who received his undergraduate degree from the SUNY Center for International Development located in Albany, New York, where his job was to conduct background research on global governance topics. This seems to be repeating myself here. Most critical to know about Joshua Treschenchet, however, this report notes, is that he is the son of Erin Rutnick Treschenchet, who was the younger sister of Democrat Party U.S. Senator Kristen Gillibrand, with both Erin and Kristen's father. I read through all that already. With their father, Doug Rutnick, being one of the top advisors to the mysterious Albany, New York sex cult called NXIVM, excuse me, whose founder, Keith Raniere, has already been arrested by one of the tens of thousands of sealed indictments QAnon has documented that President Trump had ordered his loyal forces to issue. And on page 5, this is a picture of New York Senator Kristen Gillibrand. She was appointed by Governor Cuomo and then ran and was elected on her own name. I never hear anything about her. She's just sitting up there in New York, in Washington. I don't know what she does. Oh, I'm sorry. She's not a United States Senator. She's a New York Senator. Well, I thought she was a federal senator. I think this must mean she's a United States Senator from New York. This is, the picture says, for Kristen Gillibrand, the self-proclaimed Me Too senator, to claim ignorance about a notorious sex slave cult in her own backyard is simply hard to believe. Said by Harley Slim. I don't know who that is. New York City, the caption of the picture is, New York Senator Kirsten Gillibrand's father has ties to a sex cult whose leader was just arrested at a luxury villa in Mexico and deported back to the U.S. to face labor and sex trafficking charges. I doubt very much if that's a lie, but it's possible, but it's stated as a fact. It's probably true. In the correspondence documented by the FSB occurring between Vladimir Nailov and Joshua Treschentret, this report says, their main central point, now we're getting down to what the treachery is, what is the treason. Their main central point of focus centered on how to create an artificial intelligence entity that would be able to govern entire nations. That many experts are now claiming will be the end of God. You know, brethren, years ago, one of the things that I found on the internet years ago, I don't remember names or who it was. It was somebody speaking in a university situation, and they were talking about discovering the gene or the thing inside of people that make them turn to God, and how to use mind control to turn it off, how to actually stop people from looking for God. And someone in that lecture class took a video of it and sneaked it out, that's what they're teaching in the college. Many experts are now claiming that this will be the end of God as humans begin worshiping their new AI messiah, with MIT professor of physics Max Tegmark warning that once this new superintelligence is vastly greater than that of a human, the fate of mankind will depend on it, and it's saying that the real risk with artificial general intelligence isn't malice, but it's not malice, but competence. Let me read that again. So this professor says, he's warning us that once this new superintelligence is vastly greater than that of a human, the fate of mankind will depend on it. And he's saying that, the professor is saying that the real risk with artificial general intelligence is not malice, not that the machine will turn evil, but competence. And now he's going to explain what that means. A superintelligent AI will be extremely good at accomplishing its goals, and if those goals are not aligned with the goals of the people, there will be a problem. And that echoes President Putin further warning that the nation that leads in AI will be the ruler of the world. So apparently President Putin said that. At the top of page 1, I think that's just an image that some artist drew with the main face and all of these little pieces surrounding it, representing the individuals, or the individuals that have the corresponding intelligence inside of them in the form of a chip or otherwise joined to this main intelligence. Using the international governance information supplied to him by Joshua Treschentret, this report continues, the traitorous journalist Vladimir Nailov, shortly before his capture and arrest, collaborated on writing an article for the Center for Strategic Estimates and Forecasts organization titled, he collaborated on writing this article entitled, Human, All Too Human, is not whether we will become hostages of our mind, implementing universal AI. Now that doesn't make any sense of what I think it means. He wrote this article entitled, now this is a translation, so it doesn't make any sense. Human, all too human. The AI is human, all too human. And the issue is not whether we will become hostages of our mind, implementing universal AI. I really don't know what it means. Implementing universal AI, will we not become hostages of our own mind? I don't really know what that means. Wherein the competence failure, he's saying that the weakness in AI is that it will be competent, not incompetent, or that it will be too competent. And I still need him to explain this to me. Wherein the competence failure of AI was explained as being due to the fact that our entire civilization has been built by crazy people. So let me read you a little more and we'll talk about what he's saying. That refers to the true and unmistakable fact that our world's greatest achievements were all accomplished by people who by today's standards would be most certainly placed into lunatic asylums for believing and acting upon things that could not possibly be true, such as the U.S. Navy in 1901 declaring that anyone thinking that they could make a machine that flew was crazy. So innovative people in this world that had believed things that no one else could believe would be considered crazy. I know one of the things that always sticks in my mind, and I've talked to you about it, the man that invented anesthesia for surgery. The whole medical society cast him out and thought that he was crazy. So they're saying that this AI machine that would rule the whole world, the weakness in it is its competence. That I'm not really even sure what it means myself, but that's what they're saying, that the weakness in it is its competence, because they're trying to make it as human and better than human. So, and they're saying humanity is not competent. The people that are innovative and imagine great things are considered incompetent by the rest of society until they prove their goal. So this AI machine, I don't know how to explain it to you what they mean, so let's read on. In order, now these brilliant people, they're writing this article, they're preparing this AI, and they're looking, these two men, the writer and another man, are writing about the weakness and the idea for the purpose of solving the weakness. They need to solve the weakness. They're saying that AI would be too competent. The people, I think what it's saying is that the people wouldn't be able to believe it. They wouldn't be able to believe it when the AI comes up with a solution or something that the average human never heard of before. That humanity would react the same way to the AI as they reacted to the inventors of all of the great things of our modern society. In order to, and therefore the people will reject it. They have to present an AI God that the people will embrace. Then once they embrace it, then they're captured. And that's what this means, that we will become hostages to our own mind. We have to accept it, but that AI will be so competent that it won't appear to be human to the average person. They won't be able to make the connection. In order to achieve the introduction into AI of a crazy component, to give it lifelike human characteristics, this report details, Joshua Chechentred introduced Vladimir Nailov, he's the one that's in jail for high treason now, to an invention patented by imprisoned NXIVM sex cult leader Keith Raniere in 2013. So this guy is in jail. This guy that knows Senator Gillibrand's father, that's in jail since 2013 because he's a sex cult leader that Senator Gillibrand's father is the advisor to, okay, is trying to patent this. Let me read that again. Joshua Chechentred introduced the writer to an invention patented by the guy that's in jail, okay? And now under the control of his grandfather, Doug Rutnick. I think that's Senator Gillibrand's father. Doug Rutnick, I believe, is her father. And this guy went to jail, this Ranier guy went to jail, so this patent is now under the control of Doug Rutnick and of U.S. Senator Christian Gillibrand. So this patent concerning this AI god is now under the control of an American citizen who happens to be the father of Senator Gillibrand. The patent. And the name of the patent is called Determination of Whether a Luciferian Can Be Rehabilitated. This is in the United States Patent Office. Now, I believe it because you can check this out. I'm not going to take the time to do it. When you submit a patent, you have to give it a title describing what it is. Determination of whether a Luciferian can be rehabilitated. Now, why would they name it that? What they really mean is, can a Christian be changed? So they wouldn't dare say Christian in the patent office. They said, can a Luciferian be rehabilitated? But they really mean, can we change the mind of a Christian? Can we rehabilitate a Christian? That's what they really mean. And whose sole purpose provides a now patented process, and we're given the patent number here, a process, they have patented a process as how to enslave human minds for whatever purposes its users determine. It's patented. And on page 7 is a photocopy of the information on the patent. And up here. To how far these satanic forces have gotten in their bid to create a new AI god to rule over the world, this report does not discuss in this general report because of its much higher classification, thus leaving one to only hope that President Trump can stop this evil before it spreads much further, and whom the American people tomorrow will have the ability to aid, whatever that means. If only they knew the American people will have the ability to assist President Trump in stopping it, if only they knew the full truth of the monsters he's battling against to save them, his nation, and the entire world. So, President Trump, whoever has the final decision, is it President Trump, is it the military government behind him? I know somehow, and I guess the final decision is President Trump, it has been made to not make this information available to the public. He's made a decision, it seems to me, that the people would never believe it. And then he would lose his credibility with them. I remember before he ran, when he was running the first time, he was saying President Obama was not born in America, and he was really ripped to pieces for that. So he's very smart. I don't know if any of you all know Rowe. What's his first name? Clive Rowe. I can name someone while I'm preaching, and then half an hour later I can't remember their name. His second name is Rowe, R-O-W-E, and he was in a very high position in Baby Bush's administration. He was completely against Trump when he was running, but he was saying this morning that Trump, all of his political moves for these midterms, Karl Rove, okay, he would have done it. He said he was brilliant in his political moves. In other words, Trump knew that he was not going to take the House and the Senate. He knew that it was highly unlikely that he would be able to do that. And just to add this to the political video that I didn't put in there, every candidate that he campaigned for won. He just didn't have enough time or energy to campaign for all of the members of the House. He basically went to the states where he wanted the senator. Every senator he campaigned for won. And Karl Rove said that he was just brilliant in his choices. He knew exactly what he was doing. So the man was never in politics, but he was like an amateur politician. And he had all of this knowledge and ability that he put into play when he was elected and started playing 4D chess. So we're now on page 8. Oh, that's it. We're pretty much finished. Let me finish up here. We're almost finished. The picture on page 8 is President Trump saying, "God help me to save our nation and protect the American people. Amen." And this appeared in the One Nation, whatever magazine that is. That's it. That's the end of what's on page 5. It's just saying that we have permission to reproduce this article. It's the name of the Sisters of Sorcha Fa'al, Irish, apparently. And if you're interested in this website yourself, I put on page 9, I put the website for you. It's down here, it's the last thing on the article. So that's what's going on in the world. I will end by saying this, that this is what came to me today. That these Luciferians and Satanists that are so evil and they're cannibals and torturing children and all that, they seem to be very powerful compared to an average human being, and they're trying to control humanity and rule the world. They've actually been captured themselves. The Lord likened humanity this morning in his discussion with me to a herd of wild horses that the Lord himself has to break us before he can ride us. His competition are these other powers and principalities, which we know to be the fifth day of creation powers, the reptilians and the avians that were created on the fifth day, that are in rebellion against God, trying to literally marry humanity when we are the bride of Christ, and they are trying to marry humanity. And all of these evil people that are in power, that they have been married by these fifth day of creation forces. So they've actually, although they appear to be so powerful in this world, that they're pulling all this off and they've taken over the halls of government and education and everything else that they've done, the reality is that they're very weak. They were the first human beings to be captured by the fifth day of creation forces. And that's the reality. That's what we all are. And that's our reality. One of the hardest jobs, although we have many difficult aspects in this ministry, would be to convince anybody that would listen to what we're preaching here, that we're not king's kids and on top of the world and commanding angels and all of those things that we were taught in Pentecost. But we are the cattle of the morning of the sixth day of creation. We are the cattle that have a potential to become very great when we're possessed by the Spirit of God. And this is the reality of Isaiah's vision of the seraphim, serpentine angels that are worshiping God, saying, "Holy, holy, holy." Okay. So the whole creation will worship God, including the serpentine, including the reptilian creation of the fifth day. The reptilians themselves will be worshiping God when he possesses the whole creation. The hybrid corruptions must be destroyed. Cain, which is a perversion, will be destroyed. Whatever is born of the union of the reptilians and Adam will be destroyed. But the reptilians themselves are part of the creation, and they will be worshiping God when all is said and done. I'm going to say it again. All of you wicked people out there that are lying to the American people and manipulating them and hating them and wanting and trafficking in their human flesh and cannibalizing them and destroying and torturing children, all of you, you are very weak. You think that you are strong and you think you are superior to the rest of humanity, but the truth is you are very weak. You have been captured by the evil forces of the creation. You are the first ones to go down. Many of you raised in Christian families. You are very weak. And soon you will know your weakness, says the Lord. You will know the truth about who you are, that you are just cattle yourself that have been possessed by evil powers, and that your fate is to be destroyed, says the Lord Jesus Christ. That's a nice ending. Okay, brethren. Any questions about this message? Yes.
There's a comment?
Yes.
Rita, that statement that he was arrested in Mexico is also in a Wikipedia encyclopedia. I see on that page it talks about the NXIVM Corporation.
Okay, so it's true. We have reason to believe that it's true. You can't believe Wikipedia either, but we have reason to believe that it's true. Thank you, Rita, for the research. Okay, brethren, if you would like to join us for comments, stay tuned. Otherwise, God bless you. I am flying out to Texas tomorrow, and although the Dallas is in the middle of the state, there is trouble on the borders in Texas that could possibly affect the airlines even flying into Dallas. So we would appreciate your prayers. And you all have the live stream to the audio. I hope that you're being blessed by these conferences that the Lord has been sending me to. Lord willing, I will return on Monday, and I will be preaching to you on Thursday. Tony will be preaching on Sunday. Thank you very much, Tony, for your service. And I feel pretty good. It was a really good session, although I explained my problems to you when I first started out. It was a blessing preaching to you, brethren. God bless you. I love you. And I will see you online next Thursday, Lord willing. Have a great day.